Since 1945, Weatherby's been building the finest firearms and ammunition in the world. And today, we're proud to continue that legacy from our facility in Sheridan, Wyoming. This is On Our Mark, the Weatherby Podcast.
Welcome back to On Our Mark, the Weatherby Podcast. We have a special guest today joining Tyler and I, Mr. Cody Rich. What is happening?
Oh, man, not much. Trying to, come out of hunting season, try to do all the things I neglected for a while there. And, typical hunter lifestyle. It's spend all fall hunting and you come back and you're like, okay, pick up the pieces.
Yeah, we have some of that, and we're not trying to launch a new business at the moment. We are trying to keep one going and grow it, but we're not trying to build one from the ground up.
Yeah. And
what's funny is I still I have so much to do, and Tyler's scaring me because he's like, oh, next week's this. I was like, oh boy. And I'm still like, can I go hunting this weekend? Is that a thing?
I think that's good. If it gets too far in the way of your passions, then you might have a problem. But
totally.
So we do want to talk about Bridger a little bit. Your I don't know what you're calling that. It's not even a side hustle. It's a full hustle.
Yeah, but it's a full-time thing.
Well, real quick, Cody, give us just kind of like who are you? Because I feel like every time we've done a podcast, it's been you and Adam, and then hosted on your channel. I don't know if we've really hosted it on the Weatherby channel. So
hey, thanks for backtracking a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we know Cody very well. I mean, heck, Cody, I think back in my days of meat, and then you used to have Backcountry Fuel Box. It feels like it's been. Me, I think from me, the first time I met you, I just showed up at your old office.
We sat. Yeah, it was super early too. I remember. What year was that, dude?
I don't know. It has to be 4 or 5 years. I was just driving through Bozeman, and it was 7 a.m. Are you around? And I just showed up. I think it was a random spring bear hunt too. It was just a really random time of year.
Yeah. So Tyler and I met, unknown number of years ago, but I've kind of been in the hunting space since 2015. Started a podcast way back when. Just loved hunting, wanted to ask people questions. So I started a podcast, right? That's what we do. And, I have built a few companies in the hunting space, been involved in the hunting industry, met a lot of really cool people, just obsessed with hunting. And then when Tyler came to Weatherby, I kind of followed along and we've been friends ever since. I've got to do a couple podcasts with Adam, been down in the factory a few times. So hung out with the guys, shot in the basement, all those fun things.
Yeah. Right on. Cool. So, what your season looked like this year? I know you've got a thing you're trying to get off the ground, but just ignore that for a second.
Yeah, all that. Actually, I had an awesome year. It was of all the busy things you have to do, right? Somehow landed. There was a bunch of really cool hunts. I ended up drawing a Wyoming tag, which I haven't had since 2018. So another mutual friend of ours, Jaden, him and I plan to hunt Wyoming, so we could talk about that too. But I had kind of a pretty busy fall, just stacked hunts. I had agreed to go to Alaska, and with a good buddy of mine, he'd been trying to get me to go for a couple years on an early Kodiak hunt. So we did the archery actually it was Southeast Alaska, not Kodiak, but we went to Southeast, did archery early season. And, my hunts were really stacked this year, and which was good because it was we had a ton of content to film, a lot of watch testing and those things. So for me, I was chief product tester. I'll go spend some time in the wilderness with this thing. So I had a really good season. I ended up a mountain goat hunt popped up last minute for me. So I got to take my Weatherby on a walk up in Canada and do that whole thing. Nice. So a lot of adventures, which is usually I have one big adventure hunt, and I feel like this year was multiple adventure backpacking hunts, which was good. I mean, it was a good season all around. But we could dive in either one. We could talk about the Wyoming one. That was a good hunt.
The Wyoming one sounds cool. Just walk us through how you did that. Was it a horse camp? Was it just backpacking? I mean, Jaden's he lives in Wyoming, right? So he's kind of got some insight. So.
Yeah. Jaden lives in Wyoming. He lives in Lander. Jaden Bales, if anybody doesn't know, Jaden's worked for me for a lot of years and doesn't anymore, but we just stayed good friends. And so he's kind of been a co-host on my elk hunt podcast, jumps in from time to time. He has his own thing with Hunt West. And so we were honestly haven't done a hunt together. I don't know how that happened, but like we've known each other probably since 2016. He's lived with me, like whatever. We've never really done a big hunt. And last year we're like, man, I want to do a Wyoming. Like we're gonna go in the wilderness, like do it right. Like let's do the whole thing. And so we kind of had that on the books. I ended up drawing, and so a lot of e-scouting, a lot of planning, and Jaden spends a ton of time in the mountains. So he's got a bunch of areas. I had some areas picked out too. Ironically, we like found somewhere in the middle, and like had picked out this spot. We wanted to do the whole wilderness go deep thing. So we ended up borrowing some llamas from my buddy Mark Livesay.
Mark.
And yeah.
I'm wearing a Mark t-shirt right now.
Nice. Yeah. So Mark and I do a trade. So I gave him all my hay from this year in trade for like letting him borrow the llama. So I think I got the better end of that deal. But yeah, so we did the whole llama camp thing and ended up heading in a little bit before opener. We e-scouted the crap out of it and had, the grandiose plans, and we're getting pretty deep in there. And of course, we get there, trailheads like in more trucks than you could ever imagine. And it was like this season was interesting because it was pretty nice weather, which it never really helps the number of people. So
too nice.
Yeah, a little bit too nice. But it was good. We get there, we got in, and of course, like even as we're you have these grandiose plans, you think you're gonna be by yourself. You're like, we're going so deep. No one else in the world knows about this seeker spot. And of course, like even before we like get all the way in, some horse guys rode by us, and we're like, oh, okay, maybe they're going somewhere else, like those type of things. And of course, like we get to where we want to camp, and like we can see their camp right there, and we're like, dang it. Apparently, we had the same plan. And so, Jade and I make camp. We're like, all right, do we change tactics? We talk to these guys, like figure out what they're doing and those type of things. So, typical, I don't know, archery or rifle opener, just like that's how it goes. Yeah, you're like, okay, where are you guys headed? We'll head this way, which worked out good. We were a day or two early, and basically the spot that I had like thrown a dart at in my e-scouting plans. I go there first, and you know how it is, like you're just so anxious to get to this new spot. You're like e-scouted, and I get there. And it was a little bit late. It was still, it wasn't dark yet, or it wasn't daylight yet, but I get there, like still can't quite see. So I'm like getting my tripod set up, whatever. And I hear a bugle, and I'm like, oh, sweet. Like there's elk here, and like, I don't know, rifle hunting. The cool thing about Wyoming is it's kind of cheating. You get to like hunt bugling elk with a rifle. Yeah. It's so crazy. And it was really nice. So it felt like September. And sure enough, like as it gets daylight, I like find this bull. I'm like, oh, it's a pretty good bull. And like I kept hearing another bugle. And sure enough, like I look around, and way up high, like much higher than where I was looking, there's a herd of elk out, I say on Mars. Like there's no trees, there's nothing. It's like, I was like, this is the most Wyoming thing ever. Like just elk, like where they shouldn't be. So yeah, it was good. And it was good, really good bull. We're like, oh man, that's a shooter. And it was one of those shooters where you're like, I came here to like grind it out, find a giant, and expect to go the distance 9 days. And day one, you're like, I really probably shouldn't pass this bull. So,
right.
So yeah, one of those seasons. So we went back, and then the other thing of that is like, anytime you have other hunters in the area, you're waiting.
You're just gonna wait for somebody else to shoot it for you.
Yeah. So we went back in opening morning, turning back up, and like classic, like let's just get a little bit closer and we'll make a decision. And so as soon as we get there, it was like he's out again on Mars, and I'm like, let's shoot this thing, man. And a part of it too for me, it was just such a cool experience, like finding elk above 10,000. I still hadn't killed an elk above 10,000, so that was like, oh, that's good. Bull's great bull, like just a stud bull, screaming his head off. I really wanted to like search and keep looking, but a part of me was like, let's get this thing killed. So, and of course, as soon as we do, so we're up on the ridge, see this bull. He is just going nuts. Like he's chasing satellites, running cows. Like he's going crazy for October. And as soon as we drop into like 500 yards, he kind of like starts peeling the other way. and which was not out of character. We had watched him run off satellites that were hundreds of yards away. And I was like, what's he doing there? You know, like as we're kind of setting up. And sure enough, like he just chased this calf down over the hill. And I was like, well, maybe he'll come back. You know, so we sat there and he just didn't come back. He just kept going farther and farther. We're like, perfect. So we let's do a half semicircle here, get above him and get over to where he is. And either he comes back, we'll still be in range, or like he stays over there and we'll have to make a new move. So we like run back up the ridge. And we had to climb 800 feet back up the hill, you know. And
that's significant.
So, yeah, it was like not a small little jaunt. Get up around and come back down. And actually by the time we worked closer, it was like, okay, I've picked him up again. And he had pretty much went to another herd. So he left his herd out in the wide open and just straight went for a different herd. And so we're like, okay, we start picking him up. And this time he's in the timber. So he dropped a little bit of elevation and he's down in the timber. And we're kind of watching, just trying to pick exactly what was happening, trying to figure it out. And we ended up just kind of slipping down the ridge and lost him for a little bit. We thought we saw him, but it was actually a different bull. It looked very similar. He's a 6x7. So you like kind of start to see that pattern configuration, like, but it's in the timber. I'm like, I don't think that's the same bull. And then like significantly smaller. So we finally pick him up, and yeah, he had basically left his herd and was in a new herd going crazy in this herd. So we're like, all right, slipped down the ridge, and it was nice. So we like got to, I think it was 480 or something like that. And Jaden's like, well, you want to get closer? And I was like, yeah, man, I feel confident. Like we're just going to,
I got my Weatherby
right here.
Yeah.
Weatherby. Yeah. So we, one quick shot and it was done. Dropped him in his tracks. Didn't go 20, baby.
Yeah. There's something to be said about like, you could have gotten closer, but when you're, like if you get closer and then all of a sudden things change and you bump them or you're rushing a shot or you're not in a good spot, it's honestly kind of better to get in a spot you're comfortable and they don't know you were there and you can kind of just take that shot.
That 500-yard zone is pretty awesome. If you're confident in your setup and your ability to take one that far, like wind could come into play there, but it's probably less likely that they're gonna.
It wasn't really any wind, and like we're on the face, basically shooting down. But I had like a nice flat spot, and we could have actually got another 100 yards closer. But the way the ridge rolled out, like it was definitely an unknown. Like you would be, if we go farther, we don't know if we'll have a shot. Because it's kind of explained on a podcast, but like he was across the ridge when we were watching him, but he basically got to the bottom and he was kind of in a burn. So if he would have came over onto our side, it would have got a little more complicated. It would have been like, well, we can shoot him at 480 or we could just shoot him at 60.
Right.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, what's a more like comfortable or ethical shot? Like rushing something off a tripod at half the distance, or like you're prone, you're on a bipod.
Perfect moment.
Yeah. So
what was your rifle
which is
setup?
Interesting. I don't know. Like we could dive kind of into the goat story too. And it's funny because I don't like, not to like ruin the ending of the goat hunt, but goat hunt, we get on a lot of weather, a lot of rough days, trying to find some goats or whatever, typical goat hunt, and get sunny. We go to just finally get to where we want to get to, and I'm like, there's a goat right there, and we're 680 right there out of the gate, right? And so we're like, we glass him up, we watch, make sure it's a billy, we spend some time, and my buddy's like, should we just shoot from here? I think he was a little nervous to like move closer to this billy, and I was like, well, we can get to there, which is 350. Like I no doubt in my mind we can get to 350. And I think like the inverse is also true, where a lot of people want to like rush that and be like, we should just take the shot now. And so like that's an interesting, like you get comfortable, like look around at the stock, and in that situation we easily got to 350, shot him in his bed, one shot, done. And like I don't know, like to me, very, very, if you're under 500, it's like, it's a dead thing. Yeah. No problem. At 650, probably would be a dead thing, but like, why risk it on a mountain goat? Like, let's just get closer. Like, if I can't get to 350, I'm not a very good hunter. But
yeah, it seems like over that 500 is kind of that magical mark when then like environmentals and like animals taking a step, things like that can really start to come into play.
Yeah.
So,
what was your rifle setup?
So I am shooting a 7 PRC. It's the Alpine CT. Yeah, gray scope, and I got a Maven RS 3.2 on top.
Nice. Super Wyoming gun there.
Yeah.
Yeah, super Wyoming gun.
Yeah. Were you, I can't remember, did you shoot Weatherby ammo on that, or were you shooting a Barnes, or what were you shooting?
No, I was shooting Hornady ammo out of that one.
Hornady? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I ran out of like all the ammo you sent me.
Yeah, I think you might have been doing, I feel like the first, which I think we just loaded, but it was the 177 hammer might have been what. That's what I usually always send to people.
That's pretty
that.
setup.
I don't know if I'm trying to remember because I had some of that. I had the hammer ammo for that 338 RPM that I shot my bull with last year or before, one or the other. I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, something cool.
Cool.
I'm glad Idaho was super good to you. That's great.
Yeah, Idaho sounds like a great place for people to move to.
You should
and
keep
hunt.
hunting in Idaho a lot.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, it's funny because like on that Wyoming hunt, we spent a lot of time packing. Jaden, long story short, Jaden ended up killing a bull too. It was like, so I killed my bull opening morning. We packed for a while and like it wasn't even all the way done. And, we find another bull. Jaden's like, I'm going to move on this. I was like, cool, I'll be there, and he had it killed before I even got there.
Wow.
But on the way, on packing my bull out, we run into to a non-resident and he was like, just taking pictures of the bull, just like, oh my God, it's, they do exist type thing, like your typical non-resident hunter. And without saying too much, I was like, yeah, you got to go a lot higher. And so he was like, like, wow, blah, blah, asking some questions. And I think, typical out-of-state hunter, like, oh, I just hunt these meadows and these bottoms and stuff. It's like, no, you got to get it way up there. Like all these out there living on the moon. So
Tyler and I did a high country mule deer hunt in Colorado, and that was pretty fun. We both killed right around 12,000. And
wow.
It was pretty fun. And Tyler at the end was like, oh, you have to look way to the top to find these things.
Yeah, Luke is like outglassing my butt off, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? He's like, you're just not looking up, because like you're hitting the usual spots, and Luke's like, I got one. It's like, where? He's like, at the very top.
Like,
I'm like,
up there.
Like we're already at 12.5. How can it be any higher?
Yeah.
So,
did the altitude mess with you guys?
honestly, no.
No, I don't remember that it did. I mean, at one point we were on a hustle to kill my buck. And yeah, we felt that a little bit, but what
which is interesting. I got my butt kicked on the altitude thing. And I don't feel like I'm in probably best shape of my life right now. And like we were, anytime we were above 10,000, I feel like if I took off too fast, I would like get lightheaded. And then packing my bull out, we had to exert some energy.
Sure.
And I was like, dude, that night I was like, I do not feel great. Like I can tell,
kidding.
like, yeah. And then Jaden was all worried because he had a buddy get altitude sickness, and I was like, oh, great. So slept hard, like took it pretty easy the next day and was fine, but like I could tell something was very off.
Altitude sickness can be a real thing, and it's inconsistent. That's the really hard part. Like you can do everything right and you still might get it, and you could do everything wrong and you might not get it. It's wild.
Yeah, I say that it didn't affect me, but now you're talking about hiking, and there's probably lots of video evidence of me just breathing super hard because we filmed it. So I'm now thinking like, ooh, there's going to be probably lots of video of me breathing really hard. So
I mean, that's normal. But outside of that, I think we all did good.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Bridger some? Like I want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got this idea, this company I've seen a bunch of chatter on the line. Yeah. And why don't you just I don't want to do it wrong. So you tell us what Bridger is.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of goes into the backstory, just solving my own personal problem. But almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, was out hunting, and I had a new smartwatch. I got to track my runs and my fitness and all of those things that we wear a smartwatch for, and was kind of covering ground in eastern Montana, and just was like, man, I realized how many times a day I pull out my phone and look at Onyx, and I was like, man, if you could just look at your watch and see your maps, that would be really cool. Like that would be neat. And that was kind of like just rough idea in the beginning. And from there, I started to realize like just how many times a day I pull my phone out, how many times a day I look at my maps, all these things. And I also looked at the products that were out there and I was like, these really aren't built for what we do. Like it is a tool that we use for what we do, but it is not built for what we do. And like, just kind of broadly speaking, you know, like hunters, we don't follow trails. You know, we're constantly just reading terrain. We're making decisions, adjusting routes. And so, you know, you need a mapping system like what we use, where it's like you can look at the terrain and be able to walk through terrain with maps that you can tell. You can see the definition, you can see the ridges, you can see the valleys, like all of those things. And then along the way, we just saw that like I think there's so much room to improve upon what existed out there, right? And the one way I like to say it, and this kind of came about over years of developing this, was I hate to say Garmin. Like Garmin is an events-driven operating system. It's designed for like running, which is an event, triathletes, those type of things. And we designed our OS to be a lifestyle operating system, which is like, you know, you train all year long, you scout, you hunt. Like hunt isn't something you hit the start button and you like start hunt. Like that's not a thing, right? Like, you know, we needed to build it. And what I really wanted was like something that was easy to get to my maps. It had to be very easy to get to my maps. It would stay on the maps, be easy to get to like my dope chart, to be easy to see my steps, my altitude, all of these things that were like very buried in a different operating system. You know, like it doesn't really matter if it's Garmin or Suunto, whoever, they just weren't top of mind. Like those watches are great, but they were built for runners that we adapted. And so it was like, we went back to the drawing board and said like, how would we build this from the ground up if it was for hunters? And so that was like a big piece of it very early on. And, you know, when I first had the idea, I called a buddy and I was like, hey, like, well, what would this look like? How would you, you know, put these kind of maps on a watch? And he was like, oh, I have to look into it, you know, and long story short, like we just basically, I got introduced to one person and then the next person, and somehow like serendipity or timing, whatever you want to call it, like we just were introduced to some incredible teams, and we've been able to put together the Bridger OS, Bridger operating system that prioritizes all of these features and puts them forward. And it's been quite the journey over 2.5 years, but I think we have a pretty cool product.
So you've got a background in software and electronics development?
No, I'm just a dumb redneck, but I know smart people. And like, that's the thing is like, when we first set out to do this, like David, who's my co-founder, he's built a lot of tech products. He's built smart devices, like what they call IoT. He was also a hunting guide too. So like he's a rare blend of like can actually build a thing, but also knows what to build. And so him and we set out to build this, and we even had to hire like teams that were much more qualified than us. But there was a giant disconnect between like what hunters really want and the engineers who can build it. And when you talk about something this technical, it's actually a pretty small group of people who could actually build the thing. And that was probably our biggest hurdle, our biggest struggle over the years, was like trying to communicate that, like just trying to get like the simple things of like, no, we don't need turn-by-turn directions. There's no such thing as turn-by-turn directions in the mountains of Wyoming or Idaho.
On the right, you'll find a bull elk.
Yeah, if you could incorporate that, it could be handy. When you're hunting in Idaho, if you turn right at
the pine tree, and there'll be a bull 6-point. So
totally. And that, you know, that was kind of the basis. And it was funny because along the way, a lot of people, you know, I met some really cool people along this journey. And you know, we met heads of product from Google, and I remember meeting this guy from Google, and he told me, he's like, you know, we tested maps extensively and nobody wants maps on their wrist. And I was like, yeah, but if you went to downtown New York and asked people if they wanted an F-350, you'd come to the conclusion that you shouldn't make F-350s. I was like, trust me, we use our maps a lot. You know, like no one else is using maps on a phone like we do. So it just makes sense that, you know, having maps on your wrist would be important. And then, you know, like while I'm building this, ironically, I'm on a rifle hunt in Arizona, and I lose my phone. And the whole time I'm like, gosh, I'm building the solution to this. But it like took me, I think I went like 6 miles out of the way to try to find my side-by-side. And it was just like this aha. It was like, oh, we're building a redundancy to maps, which is the most important piece of gear we carry on a device
Yeah,
that I don't know about you, but I'm constantly scared of losing or it dying or those things. And so, it was like, oh, this aha moment of like, maybe this is just bigger than convenience. It's like kind of a real need.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So how, man, should we get into like how does it operate? So it looks like a watch normally, and then
looks like a watch normally.
Yeah, like it's got, but it's got like a watch face and all the things. But yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so maybe if we're gonna have this video, which is good, but if you're listening, maybe just walk us through like how you would use this in a case scenario, like the map side.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the thing we could do to improve upon what existed was to make it simpler, make it easy to navigate, get around. Mainly because I don't know if I'm just too dumb or I couldn't figure out how to get around in any of the other ones, but I was like, how do we make this stupid simple? And so even just boiling it down to like, I have, see here, back, it's upside down, but back, select, up and down. So like just a really simple operating system where it's like you can touch screen, you can swipe right and go to kind of like your dope chart or your widgets or like all of these little things. You can swipe down and you'll go to your glances, which is going to give you an instant look at steps, weather, sunrise, sunset, like all the things you would check quickly. And then it has, I think top right goes to your workouts. So whether you want to go on a run or a ruck or like all the fitness type stuff. And then swipe left, you'll go to your maps. And maps was kind of the priority. So you can hit this top button. I'm in a room, so it's not going to want to do it or else I'd show you. And there's levels to that conversation. This is we disconnected the phone to GPS on this one, so I can pull it up, but it'll search for GPS for a minute.
Sure.
But we built it to have offline maps one swipe away. So tap up, you'll go to your maps. And what we actually did differently than anyone else is we made them these offline maps so you can pan around, right? So you can move just like you're used to, right? And we built our maps specifically for wearables. So we went in and we said, okay, like what do you need out of a wearable map that's different than your phone? It's different from the computer. And so like instant access, but you can actually navigate, right? So I can pan around and see like, oh, Tyler and I are working up the ridge to 12,000 and my glassing knob is right ahead of me. Perfect. So I don't have to pull my phone out as much. Yeah. So I guess, does that answer the question?
I think that answers the question. Yeah. So you're pretty much being able to, it'll have like topograph. So you can see like, oh man, I still got that. Those lines are pretty close together. That's my simple brain. Right.
Yeah.
And so you can like put waypoints on that and all that stuff too. So it's like, my glassy knob's right there.
Yeah. And so we actually built it so you can import any mapping, any of your waypoints. Specifically we're working a deal right now. So hopefully by the time this comes out, I'll be able to say or not say, but we're working with Onyx to try to bring those in. But even now you can do that. You could go to your account and you could any mapping account and you could import all of your waypoints. So you'll have that data, but you can also mark waypoints in here very easily. You can run your tracks. You can do all those things. So say, I know all my glassing points for whatever, unit 1, 2, 3. I can import those and I'm like, okay, I'm hiking to the glassing point. Oh, we're almost there. Cool. Or you're hiking back to your truck. Great example. You set a waypoint on your watch, you're hiking back to your truck. One of the cool things that we built is we put redshift in. So you're hiking back to your truck. You don't want to run your headlamp. You don't really need it. You can look at your watch and it's all in red. So it doesn't affect your night vision. Nice. So I'm like, how many times you're hiking back and you look at your phone, you're like, oh, a little bit blind. Just walk in the dark for a little bit, and trying to find the truck on your way back. So we built in little features like that as well into the mapping.
What's your timeline look like? So can I buy one today?
It depends on when Tyler puts this out. We're gonna pre-sale. Pre-sale will open up December 9th.
Okay. And
watches are gonna ship in February.
That's right on. Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I have so many questions on the how and the business side. No. So, on the map side, can you when you're at home and it might make more sense to be on your phone, can you do map stuff Is there an app on your phone? Like how does the interaction work between?
Yeah, there's an app on your phone. We have an app as well, and so we built this the same way we're used to on other devices. So we're all very used to, like, I save an offline map, right? So you can go to the Bridger app and you can save your offline map and you can send it to your watch. You're like, okay, here's the area we're hunting. I'm going to save this by this and save that. And that's going to just go to your watch, very similar to how we were used to playing with offline maps, right? And then you can import. If you have a bunch of waypoints, you need to import. You can do that as well. You can set waypoints very easily. So it is a true map redundancy. And I always say it's like, it's a map you can't lose because it's strapped to your arm, and it has a 30-day battery life. So
that was my next question, is talk about battery life. So 30-day projected?
Yeah. So I haven't confirmed everything. We still have a lot to kind of tweak out on those, but let's just use engineering math. And these are pretty conservative numbers, so I feel good saying them, but don't hold me to them exactly. But in smartwatch mode, which is kind of like you get your notifications, like it's just your standard operating mode, looking at 30 plus days.
Nice.
If you were in battery save mode, you're going to be north of 70 days. Like you could go like, oh man, I want to save my battery as much as I can. You're closer to 70. If you're running GPS, my goal was always 10 days of heavy map use. We ended up getting, I think it's going to be 89 hours of consecutive tracking. So if you were to run it for 10 days at 9 hours a day, you'd be,
Man, that's awesome. Can you save music to your watch?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's big for me.
Yeah, because there's kind of the crossover. Luke's a pretty avid on all outdoorsy things. Like you do skiing, you do all the things.
I ski, I cycle, I swim. Adam's getting me into swimming slowly. I suck at swimming so bad. Man.
And me, I like to run a lot, but for hunting only. Like I don't think I would have became a runner if I wasn't for hunting. So.
Yeah, it says the guy that finished an ultra this year, 52 miles.
Yeah.
Totally. And like, I mean, I'm a runner too. So like we built all of those features. I think, battery life, you look at a lot, like we'll use Tyler, right? He's an ultra runner. And like battery life on the ultra running is kind of an issue, not a problem. We can do all those things. I also think we did some really cool things as far as like the way you can use a map and be like in your running cycle, which a lot of other people do too. You can have the same, you can go to your run and you could swipe to your map. I do think the trails, like having, being able to like save a route. Let's just say you save a route in Onyx and you send it to the watch. And now I'm like, say I'm on a long run I don't know, I can just look down and be like, oh, I'm still on the right trails and things like that. Mm-hmm. Most of my runs, like I know where I'm going. I don't need that. Yeah. But, my wife and I did like a 15-miler in Tahoe. And it was like, man, there's trails everywhere. So I'm like constantly pulling my phone out and being like, is this the trail? Like, where are we?
Yeah,
it's
the forks that make you nervous, right?
Yeah.
Like, was it left or right?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, it does a lot of those things. We also put a flashlight in it, which was like, if you're a watch person, you're like, has to have a flashlight. Like, yep, we did. But we also did red and white. So we have two-tone.
I've got a Garmin Fenix 8 and, the flashlight is the number one favorite thing. Like when people see that I have a flashlight on my watch, or like you're in a closet and you're just looking for something real quick and it's dark and you're just like you turn the flashlight on, it's a game changer.
Dude, like you have to have it. It's a must. Like I wouldn't have built it. Like if someone told me we couldn't do this, it's like, no, give up. The maps don't matter anymore.
My son and I, we both are on the Garmin Fenix family because we haven't had an opportunity to buy a Bridger yet. So we were on an elk hunt, just the two of us, a couple weeks ago, and we each thought the other one of us grabbed the headlamps. And so neither of us had the headlamps, and we sat till last light, and we had a pretty significant descent back to the truck, several miles in the dark, and it was kind of muddy and slippery, and we ran the flashlights on our watches instead, and it worked great. And we're like, oh my gosh, how handy is that to have a light that you can't lose?
They talk about redundancies, right? What is the saying? 1 is 0 and 0 is 1, or 1 is 0, whatever it is.
Like 2 is 1 and 1 is 0.
2 is 1 is none. Yeah.
There you go.
And like all of those things, like I'm gonna wear a watch anyway. I might as well have one that has my maps, my data, like years of waypoints in it. Like that's important. And that was kind of all my frustration with the Phoenix 8 is like it's, no offense, such an unusable mapping system and just not connected. And it's like, to me, it was like, I have to have my waypoints. Like that's first and foremost. But
hey,
I also,
you are not wrong on that. I paid for the extra maps for like a couple months. The what is it? I forget what they call it now. The Garmin premium maps is like $50 a year. Absolute trash. They're not good. They're just not.
Yeah, they don't do that well. I don't, in their defense, like it's such an afterthought. No one cares. Like to their audience, to their core group, they're not using them, and like that's fine, you know. So we just built something different.
Man, I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. This is cool.
One question I have: so from the workout side, will the app be able to talk to my Strava? For the Strava bros? Okay, just got to make sure.
Strava bros are good.
If it didn't go on Strava, did it actually happen?
It didn't count. It didn't count. I almost didn't run the other day because I forgot my watch, and I'm like, oh, I had to use Strava the old-fashioned way where you do it through your phone.
Record on your phone.
It's like a pilgrim.
Yeah. I probably can't say yet, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to be able to say this. But yeah, we're working on a Mountain Tough integration as well. And so be able to record your Mountain Tough workouts. I hope Lyle's okay with me saying that, but like, yeah.
I mean, Lyle's not really a rule follower, so I think he'll be all right.
Yeah. I was going to take my birthday away. Like, he'll be all right.
That would be really cool. Honestly, that would be kind of game changer.
Yeah, because in my Garmin in the past, I've struggled with what to do with Mountain Tough. Like, is it a hit? Is it like just a workout? And it doesn't. There's not a good.
It doesn't know. Yeah.
Workout setting.
Yeah.
No. And I think the other cool thing is like just to be record that. So say I do Mountain Tough, I'm doing KB diesel, and maybe I only do like 3 days a week, but like now I can look back and say like, oh, you worked out X amount of days. Here's your, all your data, right? Like have all this recorded data into that. And that, to me, it gets interesting. At the end of the workout, I do the 10-week workout and I'm like, oh, cool. Like what was the progression? What was whatever. But then it's like over the years, it's like kind of like Strava where you're recording it over time. And like, you're like, oh, I get to see all this like history data. To me, that's kind of cool. So is it going to make you a better hunter? I don't know. Maybe. Is it convenient? Yeah. Like to me, like watch guys get it instantly. If you're a watch guy, you're like, yes, this was needed. I get a lot of resistance from non-watch people who are like, I don't know. You're like, okay, that's fine. So we'll see. To me, it seems important.
When I got a Phoenix the first time, I was kind of like, really, $1,000 to put on my wrist? It does marginally more than like my old $20 Swatch watch in 5th grade. But
with that flashlight.
But now, man, I'm definitely a watch guy now. If take this band off, it's like real white and real bad under there. And if I don't have it, I feel naked.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, the evolution for watch guys. Like for me, here's my watch journey. It went from, have you get a watch from like Christmas or something. You're like, oh, you wear it like 1 or 2 times, and then you never wear it. And then I got an iWatch or whatever. Yeah. And I wore that. I'm like, this is great.
But you had to charge that every 8 minutes.
Yeah, it dies. It's not usable. So then it's like, I kind of graduated to like, oh, I do wear it every day. And then it's like, well, I want something a little better. So then you get like the Garmin Instinct, which is super base model. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, this is cool. This is cool, but it's also like, feels like there is more to be desired. And then I graduated to a Sunto, and then it's like, man, pretty soon it's like I'm kind of in that next step of like I'm $1,000 watch guy.
It feels crazy the first time, but then I use it so much. I
always think like cost per use. No offense, Tyler, but cost per use against a Weatherby rifle, like.
Yeah, I guess you're. Hey, whoa. Yeah.
No, you're not. Again, Cody, you're not wrong. I mean, if you think about it, and it's kind of what you pay for on a Weatherby is, there's probably rifles out there that get shot once a year. They pull the trigger one time.
Yeah.
And that could last you 20 years.
Yeah.
But
one thing intrigued me that I wanted to ask. Sorry, this is kind of moving subjects here. You said you can put your dope chart on your watch?
Yeah. Which I like, that was kind of like, there's levels to that, and I got to like tread lightly here, but essentially, yeah, I wanted, it's not on this one. Actually, is it? Just got a new update, so they keep messing with mine. You'll swipe right, and what I wanted was like, I just want my dope chart. I don't need, no offense to how Garmin did it, like whatever it was, I just don't know anyone who's calculating their bullet ballistics on their watch. So I was like, I don't really need ballistics. I want to replace the arm card, or
like you can put a picture or something there.
Right. Yeah. You can put, well, you could, there's levels to that, but like, yeah, your dope chart, you could have, it's a Rolodex actually that has, you just enter your file, and then it can save that. And so I'm one swipe away. I have access to my dope chart. Like if my phone dies on that, on that go hunt, like my phone was like at 7% when we went on from that 600 to 300. I was like, oh man, I hope my phone doesn't die. Like, so I just didn't have it taped on the gun, which is probably a smart redundancy. But here's another redundancy, is like, I have my dope chart, it's saved on my watch. I can swipe right and it's right there. And I think there's cool things we could do in the future. Example, like say I range my whatever goat, and it's 360 yards, I don't know, 5.6 MOA. It can automatically scroll to that, right? But then I get in the gun and I forget what I ranged, and I'm like, oh, what was that again? And like, how many times do I do that? And like, I just look down, and it's like, it's on that, right? Yeah. So there's cool things that we could do for sure.
Right now,
I'm like basic is dope chart.
Right now, I like panic because I don't like putting the dope chart on my gun, just because when we're taking pictures and stuff, it kind of looks awkward. But I have it. My lock screen is my dope chart. I just save it as my, and like that moment of truth of like trying to get it out of your pocket. And I had a similar thing this last week when we were deer hunting. I didn't charge my phone overnight for whatever reason, and it was then just super cold, and my phone went from 10% to dead. And I'm like, oh no, what just happened? I started freaking out because we just glassed up a buck. And long story short, we ended up getting my phone back on, but I like had a mini freak out moment because it's like I actually don't have a backup other than my phone right now. So as soon as it came back on, then I texted Kobe. The dope chart was like, this is my dope chart just in case.
Yeah, so I think that was a good way to do it. I think there's cool things we could do. And the nice thing about building our own OS, the Bridger OS, is like, this thing can evolve. Like we can just update, and as we, grow and build, like we get to update it and kind of grow with the community. Like for us, it's like we're building this for the hunting community, and we're already getting a ton of feedback from the beta community. And it's like, all right, let's build something really cool that's for hunters.
Android and Apple support?
Yeah. Yes, the Android's a little bit limited, but yeah.
Right on. I'll forgive you, I guess. I'm the goofy non-Apple guy, but
he's the green bubble guy.
Yeah, the green bubble guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah. Cool.
Man,
any other questions?
Well, so many more, but I think at some point I'm just gonna have to get one and play with it. But
yeah, we'll probably have to do like a part 2 after we.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
So where can people learn more? December 9.
Yeah, December 9 pre-sales open up. You can head over to the website, bridgerwatch.com, jump on the email list. We actually have a welcome series that kind of talks about a lot of the backstory, like the who, what, where, when. And then that's also the best place to get the most up-to-date information and all of, the updates. But then pre-sale, opens up December 9th. Watches are shipping in February, and it's pretty limited run the first time. So I don't think it'll sell out super fast, but you never know. And then I think our next run is not till like end of March, early April. So if you want in, we're gonna do a pretty good deal for like founder series. We got some perks and stuff, like give people a little inside to be the first to get to watch. So I don't know if I haven't confirmed whether they're gonna serialize all the first ones. I wanted to do that, something cool to where like, yeah, you were like one of the first people to get this watch.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'll just say that we do that. Hopefully it becomes true. Now I have to do it.
Yeah, you're committed. Yeah.
Just speak it into existence.
You said it on the Weatherby podcast, so it's real.
Yeah. Sorry, team.
That's cool, man. I hope that is super successful for you guys, and I'm intrigued. I can't wait to play with one.
Yeah, I think we beat a lot of the top watches. Like, we didn't like set out to do that, but it was kind of like a lot of it just is the teams that fell in our lap. And, for me, it was like, if we could build something as good as Garmin, but like the maps are 10 times better. And we did the map side, but then I think there was just a lot of room for improvements on some of the other devices. So, and like, I don't want to say improvements. It's like, it's just not their core feature,
Sure.
Like, it's not what they focus on. So I don't want to make it sound like we're better than them in any way, but it's like, we built this for what we do and a lifestyle we live.
I think that's super cool. The wearables as a category, I mean, just if you're like a stock market nerd, if you just look at Garmin, for example, their stock got raked over the coals recently because the timing of comping when the Phoenix 8 launched last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so they didn't have another new model ready to go. And so a year later, they had significantly softer sales on wearables, and their stock went down quite a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting because now they're like pumping out so many new products, and they're kind of flooding the market, in my opinion, with some features that are going to be irrelevant. I don't know if they're trying to just get cash out of it, but at the same time, like, dude, they've had 22% growth. They've skyrocketed.
They have.
I think I don't know if it was even sales dipped, because sales are like still on track to do pretty fine for them. The interesting side would be like, I think they got hit pretty hard with a lot of the tariff stuff and like the changes, and I know some changes they made. I think it was more reactionary, and I think the market will correct on that, just based on their sales. But yeah, they produce some watches, that's for sure.
I mean, it's a huge category. I mean, for Apple too. I mean, there's still a lot of people that are rocking the Apple Watch, what is the fitness version, Ultra or whatever it is. I hear that one's pretty good. The battery life's more than 6 minutes. But
yeah, it's a super interesting category. Like, from the business side of it, like, Apple is huge. I suspect, and like a lot of my advisors suspect, that Garmin is trying to catch them more. Because like, if for them to continue at a 22% growth rate, like, it's the only way up for them. And so, I don't foresee them that interested in the hunt category. They need to grow in a certain direction, and they're kind of becoming more mainstream to chase those. So like, yeah, the category is really interesting. And then the other thing, like, kind of behind the scenes, like, you have other watches that have been acquired by certain companies that have just changed a lot internally. And so, yeah, there's really not any players in the niche side of things, like doing, at least in the innovation, like innovating in different niches right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. So, man, Cody, wish you the best of luck with this. It's going to be cool and fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think you got something. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
See you next time, buddy.
Bridgerwatch.com.